First, Niall, in terms of the situation with the FAI this week and the reforms being passed, voted through on Monday. I know your own situation, you're still considering it, so we might get something in that in due course. Sure. But in general this week, what's the lay of the land now after what happened on Monday?
Well, I think it was a sigh of relief all around, and you can start beginning to think about the future, because it was pretty bleak if that hadn't gone through. So I think the overwhelming majority, 95%, I believe, of the Assembly voting that through gives the game a chance again. And the game has come through some tough times this last 6 or 7 months. I mean, at this stage tonight, we thought we'd have seen the back of a Euros. You know, maybe with Ireland qualified there, but we've had a drought, as you know, of football. Fans still not allowed in the stadium. And so the FAI didn't escape the problems in that time, but the vote going through just gives it a real shot at coming back and being strong again. And
if that hadn't happened on Monday, it would have been curtains, really. Is that the...
Well, the alternative, and nobody liked talking about it at the time, was you know, making your way to the courts to apply for insolvency. And that was the stark reality facing it, bearing in mind you know, the history of the problems that had engulfed it, and that, you know, were taken out of I suppose of lock and key. And when it was finally outed, the seriousness of the problem there, going in 6-7 months ago, looking back, we knew it was going to be tough, but throwing COVID-19 and the whole thing, you know, was epically tough at times, you know, and not smooth sailing at all. I think I've said to many people, you know, that there was hostility there from the moment we went in. We saw that. Not everybody wants change, but I think most people would agree that at least we give ourselves a chance to do that and work our way through making the association and making football better in this country.
Hostility to yourself and the colleagues that you were working with as well, you know, Gary Owens and also Roy Barrett this week, and it's been a story, as well as the vote going through on Monday night, the story that Roy Barrett had been recommended for the job by the head of Bank of Ireland, who are the association's creditors. Accusations of a conflict of interest for Roy there, which he has obviously denied. What's your take on all that? Is that a concern going forward, given Roy's importance?
Yeah, no, it was accusations from naysayers. I think that's the first thing to point out. And what I would also say is it's my understanding that there was a whole host of people recommended to AMROP for that role. And
they're the headhunters.
The headhunters who would be putting that position together. And in terms of Roy's selection, the negotiations, which was between the Department of Sport, Sport Ireland, the banks, UEFA, there was a big collective at that time. It made zero difference that he was, or you know, to even suggest he was conflicted was wrong. And he went and got as great a deal as we could possibly get. And the fruits of that will come, because the alternative was just unthinkable. And he satisfied government, which was very important, because if you look at the deal as it was, you know, without government backing, there was no point. And I just feel that, you know, his work, other than in tabloid headlines from the naysayers, often gets overlooked. But he's been a brilliant independent chairman to get the deal, to settle it down, to bring the result that we got on Monday night, to give the game a shot going forward. And I've no doubt he'll kick on from this.
But even though there needs to be completely whiter than white, and seen to be whiter than white in terms of going forward, given what went before, that his position is not untenable because of this, and the perception, even if despite what he's done.
Well, when people make noise like that and try and build it up to be something bigger than it is, then we can get carried away sometimes with headlines. But as I said to you before, AMROP had a ton of recommendations, and that one that at a bank came up with and threw a name at. I think they threw others as well. You know, to throw that at this point is kind of the last cry from the naysayers. It's nonsense, in my opinion, and we move forward.
Brian, what's your take?
Well, I'm glad that they got those issues sorted out last week, and we'll be actually talking about football tonight.
We will.
Once we get past this stage. I think in relation to Roy Barrett, I feel he's a very honourable fella who has taken on a position that I wouldn't say there was thousands of people out there would have been brave or courageous enough to take it on. And as my understanding of it is a voluntary position. Why would someone take that up on a voluntary basis and put yourself through the pain of it, unless you wanted to do something decent for the game? I don't think he wants a big profile for himself. I think my impression is he's a shy person who wants to walk away quietly at his day job and in helping out the association to get on with it. I would hope at this stage things settle down and there's a lot less reporting of negative letters being written to the FAI. I mean, I don't know what goes on in there. I'm not close to it in any shape or form. But I haven't enjoyed seeing letters being reproduced that appear to me to be fairly private letters being reproduced in the media of letters of criticism of individual people, or the fact that certain committees haven't got together by now. I think there's been so much going on. It's been so difficult around the COVID issue, the fact there's no games being played, the fact the league, one of the most important things was to try and get football played in some way or other. Now, that has happened. Whether it's been successful or not, I don't know. I don't like the fact that we've had a shortened league and we're down to just 9 games to go. But somehow or other, they've managed to get football eventually up and running. And all levels of football are starting to be played. I've watched games at different levels of schoolboy football, Leicester Senior League and Eastern Weeks. And that's great. I'd like it to settle down a bit and let people get on with making good decisions now and wise decisions for the future of the game. And let us see a bit of football.
Let's